This week we're gonna head to Tom Brady's old stomping ground to have a tailgate party with one of our funniest people that hangs out with us on Sunday Sports Buzz. He's the author of 6 Rings, a Super Bowl history of the New England Patriots, and he was nice enough to make time for us in the middle of his new comedy tour. And, of course, he's our friend from Barstool Sports, Jerry Thornton. And, Jerry, thanks for waking up for us this morning and jumping on.
Yeah, thanks very much. As you guys know, I had a comedy show last night, the third I've had since the world went to hell. So I'm a little groggy, but at the same time, the show started at 6 o'clock. Like, that's what we're doing now. Like, every show, we're done with the show, and me and these other guys are going, normally at this time, we'd be, like, on our way to get here, and it's over. But, so if I'm a little hoarse, it's because people stuck around afterwards and wanted to talk a lot and talk about Barstool, talk about the Barstool Fund, which, if your listeners don't know, is raising money from about 200,000 just people wanting to help and distribute it to businesses that are in trouble because of the pandemic, and it's a pure good, and people are excited about it. And I met a young lady who gave me her number and said that she is a sales lady for Guinness. Oh. So I just made her my best friend in the whole world.
Absolutely. A Guinness salesperson's the perfect person for you, right?
Yeah, I know. It's one of those things where you go, if what would be the ideal wife, someone who works for Guinness, or dad owns a liquor store, or whatever. That'll
one or the other, right? Hey, let's get to Tom Brady.
Please.
You covered his entire career. At what point did you say, "Wow, this guy's special"?
There is a moment, if you look at the final drive of Super Bowl February 2002 against the Rams, where, first of all, he's told, don't make any mistakes. John Madden was apoplectic, saying, what are they doing? The Patriots should be taking a knee. This makes no sense. Just play for overtime. So Charlie Weiss, this offensive coordinator, reads him the riot act about do not take any chances. Let's just get to overtime if it's not wide open. Drew Bledsoe, to his credit, pulls Brady aside and says, just effing go out there and fling it. Well, Brady goes on this drive. He hits J.R. Redmond for about 20 yards, and now you're in field goal range, and he spikes the ball, and I will never forget this. He spikes the ball, and it bounces up, and Brady just sort of casually just cups the thing in his hand like a balloon at a kid's birthday party. Now, in the same situation, Joe Montana admitted at the end of a Super Bowl he was hyperventilating from the pressure. And here's Brady, this kid who just, he's in his second year, and we didn't know what we had with him. And I saw that casualness of this, and I said, he's actually not Homo sapiens. He's Homo superior. He's this higher evolution of mankind. And yeah, he just has that preternatural ability to be calm, and that's when I realized it was in that moment.
How many more years can he play?
I've been going with his number forever of 45.
Okay.
And, last year when he had a down year statistically, there were people doubting that, and I said, I just think that number's in his head because at some point he did what a lot of really accomplished people do, which is he looked for some kind of belief system. And for some people it's maybe a wacky religious cult, or it's in worst case scenarios it's like drugs. With him, it's this fitness thing. It's pliability and managing your electrolytes versus your acids. I don't know, whatever his kooky health thing is. And I think he wants to prove it, and he is. So that's 43. To get to 45 right now not only doesn't look unlikely, it looks like a certainty. And I'm not ruling out that he would go beyond, but I'm going to stick with 45. So at least 2 more years down at Tampa.
All right. So given the results of this season, how fair is it to say that Tom Brady had more to do with the Patriots' amazing success than Bill Belichick?
Oh, at this point, it's impossible to argue against it.
Right.
This is just a snapshot. And I've always felt it was as close to 50-50 as you can imagine, but if I had to choose, I would give it like 51-49 in favor of Belichick. But right now I'm sitting here, and, the Patriots, unlikely, it's not, I want to say a miracle, but it was really surprising that they even went to 7-9, given the way the roster was structured and the fact that they had, got hit by COVID in the middle of the season. But Belichick is in the Caribbean somewhere, and Brady's getting ready for a Super Bowl. So I would have to be an idiot to argue anything other than it looks like right now it was more Brady. And if Belichick can really turn this thing around quickly, okay, the debate is back on. But for now, it's settled science.
This is Sunday Sports Buzz in the Labatt Blue Tailgate Report. We're hanging out with the author of 6 Rings, a Super Bowl history of the New England Patriots. He's also the beat writer for Barstool Sports for the Patriots. He's our buddy Jerry Thornton. Jerry, Tom Brady first played, we talked about it in Super Bowl 36, and now it's Super Bowl 55. What was his greatest Super Bowl moment?
It's hard to argue against the coming back from down 28-3 against Atlanta.
Right.
But really, for me, it will always be Super Bowl 49 against Seattle for a lot of reasons. One, that is one of the pivotal games in NFL history in that it was, Seattle was this emerging dynasty, and the Patriots were 10 years removed from the last time they had won one.
Right.
And, had they not been able to break through there, the conversation would be totally different. Seattle might have come back and won some more. They, by their own admission, have said that broke them, and it tore the team apart. And in that game, the Patriots were down 10 points in the fourth quarter to a defense that the year before had held Peyton Manning's Broncos, the most prolific offense in NFL history, to 8 points. Brady scored 14 on them in the fourth quarter. He threw for 4 touchdown passes to 4 different receivers and led a comeback. But there's one play, though, that to me maybe is his greatest of all time. It's in that Super Bowl against Atlanta where they needed to drive the length of the field, they needed a touchdown, and they needed 2 points to send it to overtime. And it was 3rd and 10 from the Patriots' 8. And he hit Chris Hogan on an out route for about 17 yards. And that, lost in a game filled with amazing plays and the Julian Edelman catch and, bad decisions by Atlanta. That one will always stand out as that's a championship play, and very few guys make that under the pressure that he was under.
What's your this is Tom Brady in a nutshell? What is Tom Brady? How are historians going to describe him when he's all said and done?
It's not even like a trope to say he's the greatest of all time, or it is not a trope to say, hey, I don't think he's the greatest of all time. It's a trope to argue against the people who think that he's not the greatest of all time. It's like the snake eating its tail. It's preposterous to argue anybody else, and I was as big a Joe Montana guy as there was.
Yeah.
I laughed at the people saying that it was Peyton Manning throughout. I mean, how can you process the way this guy has won? He's been a starter for 19 seasons. He's gone to the Super Bowl in 10 of them.
Right.
That's 52.6%. Shaquille O'Neal is one of the 50 greatest basketball players of all time. His free throw percentage was 52.7. Standing at a stripe with no one guarding him, the chances he would sink a shot were equal to Brady taking his team to the Super Bowl. Or the way I like to put it, it's more probable than not that Brady goes to the Super Bowl. Take that,
right.
Goodell. Ginger Satan.
Oh, man. All right.
I'm still better.
I can't tell. So let's go to next Sunday. Is Tom Brady going to lead the Bucs to victory and ride away with another Super Bowl?
Look, I take a backseat to no man when it comes to my respect for what Kansas City has done, the way Andy Reid has figured out how to manage clocks. when it's all said and done, we're going to be saying Patrick Mahomes is one of the most special athletes we've ever got to watch. But Brady is going to complete this task partly because it will torture me. Like 2020 continues for me. Like it all went to hell on January 4th of last year when the Patriots lost a playoff. They lost a playoff game to Tennessee, and his last play in a Patriots uniform was a pick six by one of his old former teammates. And the year has only gotten worse. And now I'm watching him live his best life. Well, guys like us up in the Northeast are living, in this dystopian Chekhov play, this bleak Ingmar Bergman film, and he's down there with Gronk, and they're under a palm tree, and they're forming their hands around into a heart around the sun on Instagram, and look at how happy we are. So there's no way this could end any other way than him winning a Super Bowl in his home stadium. It's surreal, and at some point, I think I'm just going to wake up and realize that I've just been living a nightmare. But yeah, he's going to complete it, and maybe then the conversation will stop about if he's the best of all time. It's going to be to what extent he's the best of all time.
He is the author of 6 Rings, the Super Bowl history of the New England Patriots, which is an hysterical account. It's an awesome read for any football fan. You can follow Jerry on Twitter at JerryThornton1. Hey, man, thank you so much for joining us this week. We know you're busy. Appreciate you making time for us. And we'll hit you up around draft time so you can let us know what the Patriots are going to do.
Much appreciated. Before I go, do you guys like Kansas City or Tampa?
I can't. As much as if I'm rooting for Kansas City because I'm a Jet fan and I can't root for Tom Brady. But if I had to lay coin down, I could never bet against him. I couldn't. Yeah, I couldn't.
Yeah, it's the same. People have made that mistake before. If there was, if he is the GameStop stock of the NFL,
right? Exactly.
The people who go against them end up regretting it. So,
They do. Hey, thanks a lot, my man. Appreciate you jumping on with us this morning.
My pleasure. Take care. Talk to you soon.
All right, and that is Barstool Sports' own Jerry Thornton, and we appreciate Jerry jumping on here on the Labatt Blue Tailgate Report. Nothing goes better with enjoying your favorite game on TV or in the parking lot than an ice cold Labatt Blue or Labatt Blue Light, available wherever you purchase your favorite beverages. When we come back, we go in depth in the world of surgeries with Dr. Mike Mulligan in this week's Breakdown of the Bones, presented by our friends at the Bone and Joint Center. This is Sunday Sports Buzz. I'm Charlie Volker. He's Rob Totaro. You're listening to 104.5 The Team, ESPN Radio.